Bet horse racing on DRF Bets. We'll match your first deposit of $200. Get free expert picks and past performances, plus weekly cash back. All from Daily Racing Form, the most trusted name in horse racing. Dan Illman, Mike Buer kicking off a 50-cent pick 4 at Keeneland on opening day Friday. This is the Grade 2 Phoenix. 6 furlongs, $350,000 is the purse. Let's take a look at this field. And one of the main questions handicappers have to answer, Mike, is whether the winner of the Phoenix last year, the number 2 Special Reserve, is the same horse in 2022. He started twice. He looks like he's in good form. He won at Mountaineer last time out. He just hasn't run as fast in his 2 starts this year for Michael Maker.
Yeah, I think that's the main problem with him, Dan, is that they've only managed to get 2 starts out of him so far as a 6-year-old. I'm not sure, what's taken them so long to get this horse back to the races. But listen, he probably needed that first start back. He's caught wet, sealed tracks in both of his starts since he's returned. He dueled and tired the first time. He won pretty easily last time. And if he gets himself fully back into form here, he's going to be tough.
And when he's right, he's fast out of the gate, as we see from our Timeform US pace projector. Remember last year's Breeders' Cup Sprint? He was on top of Jackie's Warrior down the backstretch, hounded that horse, put him away, and ran a very good 4th. Timeform US believes he can make the lead here from Top Gunner, a horse that has a little bit of speed in his own right. The key is, where is Sibelius going to be placed? He looked good on the lead last time out at Laurel. He's 1 from just off, and drawing outside of the 2 speeds gives Junior Alvarado plenty of options.
Yeah, I think Sibelius probably will be somewhere along the lines of where the pace projector thinks he will be. Then I think he's just going to be stalking from the outside. He is fast enough to get forward in here, but I also agree that Special Reserve is probably fastest of anybody early and will be on the lead.
The number 1 in here is Sir Alfred James. Rafael Bejarano takes the mount for Lynn Cash. This horse disappointed a little bit last time out at Remington Park, going 3/4 of a mile. Won a 2-turn stakes at Charlestown 2 starts back. He's a likable horse. I wonder if he's just a little bit below graded level at this point in his career.
I kind of feel like he is. That being said, you know that he has a race in him that will give him a real chance in here if he can show up and run it. He did earn a 99 buyer, winning 2 starts back. That's at Charlestown around 2 turns. But this horse, he's probably a little underrated, Dan. He's also already exposed. And it does feel like if, the 2 shorter prices in here, the 2 short prices on the morning line, if they show up and run their good race, I don't know if I see Sir Alfred James beating them.
Special Reserve won this race last year off a similar 2-month layoff. This year, Maker decided to avoid the big guns at Saratoga, went to Mountaineer instead for a confidence-boosting performance as the favorite, and he did what he had to do over a wet track. He showed fine speed. He stayed off of the rail. It's where you usually want to be at Mountaineer, and he goes about his business. He's an old class master, and if he gets the lead and gets a little bit of a breather, he'll be tough over a track he likes.
Yeah, I think he is going to be tough in here. Again, I don't know why it took them so long to get him back to the races here, but I really thought that race we just watched, even though it was against a much weaker field, I just thought it was a step in the right direction, Dan. He could have just taken charge there, but he let that runner up, who's also back in this field. He let that horse come up to his inside, but he was still controlling things the entire way, and then he got away from that horse through the stretch. I liked that performance. I think it's a good sign for this horse.
Timeform US believes Top Gunner can be close to the pace, and it looked like he was running in good form in the spring and into the summer. He didn't really have a chance to strut his stuff 2 starts back in the Iowa Sprint. Last time out, though, it was kind of a pop fade effort at Churchill Downs. Maybe he needed that race. I'm not sure chasing Special Reserve with a horse like Sibelius breathing down his neck, though, is really the menu for success, the recipe for success, so to speak.
It's probably not, and that's probably the trip he's getting in here. And, at the end of the day, Dan, I just didn't think that he ran well last time. Maybe it was, that little bit of layoff he was dealing with, but he got up close to the runner-up, who was the horse making the pace in there. This horse was no match for that horse coming to the stretch, and then got out-finished by just about everybody in there. 3 starts back when they ran him in a similar race. He had no excuse in that race. He was right up there with the pace. He was no match through the stretch. I just don't think he's good enough.
The 4 Baytown Bear was reclaimed for $25,000 last fall, as rewarded these connections with several stakes placings. Couldn't run with Necker Island, who's in this spot last time out at Churchill Downs. This is a horse that just needs to take a step forward.
Yeah, he's in over his head here. The race 3 back. Forget about last time too. 3 back when he was in against Special Reserve there. This is the horse that they let come up to the inside of Special Reserve and be part of the pace, and he just wasn't even close to good enough, Dan. I don't see the race that makes him a real contender in here.
From a recent buyer speed figure standpoint, the number 5 Sibelius is simply the horse to beat. He's earned 2 triple-digit buyers in his last 2 races, a second-level allowance win at Saratoga, followed by this performance in the Light the Fuse at Pimlico, a race in which he was just able to outsprint his main competition, Jackson Traveler. He got to the lead, was able to relax through manageable fractions, but he wins this race as easy as pie.
Yeah, I mean, never really took a deep breath in here, shaken up a little bit there in the stretch, but he's just powering away from this field and he's ridden out to the end of this race. Really nice performance. He also ran really well when he won at Saratoga 2 starts back, where he just sat on the outside of the runner up there, Mexican Wonder Boy, who came back to win his next start with a 103 buyer. I don't know. This horse is in great form right now. He's already won over the Keeneland main track.
If the pace heats up, keep an eye on the 6, Necker Island, who finished ahead of 3 of these foes last time out at Churchill Downs when a rallying third, only beaten ahead in that stakes race. He is a horse that will need a little bit of pace. He's always been really honest, and he usually is right around there at the finish.
Yeah, I mean, he's not, to me, he's not a top sprinter, but he's in really good form right now. And the 2 favorites in this race both have some speed. So if they do some hitting up front, this horse could be a factor late.
It doesn't look like Aloha West is going to make the Breeders' Cup Sprint this year. The Catman, though, might have a replacement in the 7. Manny Wow, who got the patented Corey Lannery trip last time, didn't he, at Churchill Downs? He saved ground and he squeezed through the narrowest opening on the inside. To me, in the last furlong of that race, it looked like that pace was starting to fall apart. Maybe Manny Wow took advantage of it.
I thought he did a little bit. I also thought, I don't know if you agree with this, but I kind of felt like the more I watched that race, the more I just felt like Lannery kind of rode him, just hoping they would get a piece of that purse. Rated the break, just took him back, never left the rail, didn't even really ask him to do any kind of real running in that race till they got into the stretch. And then they just sort of set him up the inside to get a piece of it. I don't know, Dan. I know he earned a pretty solid figure there. I didn't think he did a ton of running.
Millionaire Long Range Toddy, 20-1 on the board. He has some back class. He won a division of the Rebel back in 2019. I don't believe he's won since that race. Last time out at Churchill, maybe he was compromised a bit by a slow opening quarter mile. They kind of walked it in 23 seconds flat. And I think at this point in his career, Long Range Toddy needs some things to go his way.
Yeah, I agree. He's also a horse who I think, even though he hasn't won in such a long time, even his competitive efforts recently have come when they let him show his speed. And I don't know if that's going to work out too well in here.
Let's take a look at our top selections for the Phoenix. Kickoff leg of a late pick 4 at Keeneland on opening day Friday. Sibelius just looks like the now horse in this race right now. He's coming into this race, I believe, the way Special Reserve was coming into the 2021 Phoenix.
I agree with you. I think he is the now horse, and so I'm going to take him on top. That being said, if Special Reserve is ready to get back to the form that he was in last year, he's going to be a handful in here.
His best races make him very tough, and he might get the jump on Sibelius. He should get the jump on Sibelius turning into the stretch. 5-2-6-1 for Mike, 5-6-7-2 for me. It's the Grade 2 Phoenix potential prep for the Breeders' Cup Sprint. Good luck.